So I'm a senior software engineer at Spotify. And in part of that, I also do invest in real estate. I do also own an investment property out of state. The moment that really catapulted my career is when
everyone's doing like the FIRE movement. Like, I want a financial independent, retire early.
FIRE is not for me. Okay. And here's why. One of the things I've learned is like, you've got to seize the opportunity.
Hey guys, Yasir here. Today we have a very special guest, Jenise Araujo.
Hey everyone.
We're here in Brooklyn, New York. Jenise, thank you for taking the time to come to my YouTube channel.
I'm happy to be here. I was excited to be a part of this opportunity.
I think you have an amazing story. In your own words, could you just tell me about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a senior software engineer at Spotify currently. I've been working as an engineer for 8 years now.
Wow.
Prior to that, I did a transition into engineering. I was at Facebook, now Meta, doing community ops back in Texas. And then before that, I was in Google in California.
What were you doing at Google?
I was working in PR.
Wow. So you went from PR to community ops to software engineering?
Absolutely. I did that whole transition in less than 10 years.
That's incredible. In 10 years, tell me, how does that work? I mean, I imagine as a software engineer, were you always technical and then you became, and you just didn't take a technical route later on, or how did that work?
So the way it works is, to answer the first question, I was not technical at all. I graduated from college from, UF,
Go Gators,
with a degree in communications, which is why I ended up working in PR initially. No technical experience, no interest. I wrote it off as it's for the nerds, kind of, not nerds, but you know what I mean, more geekier people than I. But living in Silicon Valley, right, being exposed to it so much, I noticed how all the engineers were extremely empowered. Like, they had to say where they wanted to work, how they were treated. They were treated like kings and queens. So, eventually I was like, well, I want to be on that team.
I want to be a king or queen.
Exactly.
What does it feel like in terms of the way that you are treated as an engineer versus a non-engineer?
Oh, it's just, the best word I can use again is empowerment, right? Not only does my employer treat me better and, not only just compensation and benefits, but they, the perks of being an engineer, having your voice heard and things like that. But if I'm at a company that I don't like, where I say, this culture is toxic, I don't want to be here, I have so many other options, right? I don't ever feel trapped by my job, where I know a lot of people feel they hate their job, it's soul sucking, yet they can't leave. And it's as soon as I feel that way, I can leave.
You can just go wherever you want because there's a massive engineering shortage in the United States, so everyone's trying to hire them.
Exactly. As long as you're willing to do the technical interviews and go through a little bit of that grind, you'll be all right.
So a question that I have for you, based on what you just said, was what was the transition like as an adult? Because you said, you mentioned to me that you went to University of Florida.
Yep.
Then you went back to school to become a software engineer. What steps did you take?
Okay, so the steps that I took, and also the thought process, because I think that's equally important to share, is I was at my first job, and it was not going well, we'll say that, which is also another motivation where I was like, I need to get out of this. I don't like how I'm being treated. And at the time, developer boot camps were just starting. They may have been a year and a half old. And so I was deliberating between a dev boot camp and a academic bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And so boot camp kind of promised, things quicker. It was more upfront money, but it was hey, in 6 months you can be a software engineer. You just got to come study for 6 months full time.
Right.
Whereas academic was a little bit the more normal process, except I got to skip the first 2 years of school and go straight into the specialized computer science classes. So I decided on that because I felt like that was the safest bet, to be honest. I felt like if I ever want to work at a Google or Facebook, Meta, I need an actual degree.
Right.
I felt like to convince these people, I was a woman in PR, I'm a Black woman, to convince them to hire me as an engineer probably was a big leap if I went to some boot camp that they had never heard of, or maybe vaguely, as opposed to having a real computer science degree, a real bachelor's from Oregon State, a real university, not
right.
a for-profit scam school.
We're not talking about University of Phoenix, are we?
You know what I mean? So I just felt like I did that transition. I worked full-time while I did college, again, part-time.
Right.
And that whole process took like 2 years, 2.5 years, where I was like crushing it at work. And then I would spend my evenings, just studying, learning how to code, understanding operating systems. I mean, now that feels so far away now, but.
And how long have you been a software engineer?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is insane.
And now you're a senior software engineer at Spotify.
Yep.
And if I heard you correctly, you were a software engineer at Meta.
I was not a software engineer at Meta.
Okay.
I did operations. My first engineering job to like officially transition was at Priceline.com.
Priceline.
Yes, Priceline. Everybody knows it, but they took a chance on me after, and I'm always like so grateful for that opportunity.
Oh, we love you, Priceline. I'm buying flights right now.
Stay away from Expedia.
So you were a software engineer at Priceline, and now you're a senior software engineer at Spotify. What do you actually do? Like when I think of Spotify, I think of like there's music, there's podcasts, there's like some ads. Like, isn't all the work done? What else is there to do?
So what I do at Spotify, so I work on a side that I think a lot of people are less familiar with. I work at Spotify4Artists.com. So we actually serve artists. Our customers are artist teams, not the users like yourself.
Okay.
Please keep using it.
Yeah.
But we help them basically promote their music, get their fans very engaged with them, find new ways to like expose different listeners to their music. Like we're really on their team,
right?
Helping them grow their reach, helping them grow their fan base.
So you are essentially creating a platform for music creators, to engage with their audiences and to grow their fan base.
Yeah, that's it. That's a great TLDR.
That's amazing. And, tell me about your background. Like, where are you from? How did you end up, end up at University of Florida? How did you end up at Google? How did you, talk me through your background?
Yeah, so this is quickly my story. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or Broward County to be exact. Went to school there, and then I got, University of Florida is like, for many years has been voted as like the best value school for education and cost. And so I was able to go to UF with no student loans, so we got to take that debt-free life if we can get it and have a great education at that. So I went to UF for 4 years. And while I was there, there's this funny story. I saw that Google had an application for what they called bold immersion. I don't know if the program still exists, but it was a way to get underrepresented people into tech, interested in tech. It was only a 3-day program. It was not an internship. I came across it, and in the haze of 18 years old, I blew off the application. I started it, totally blew it off until even the deadline. And I remember being like, oh, I forgot to do that. And because of fate, literally there was an email and they were saying, we are extending the deadline by 1 more day.
Wow.
And I remember seeing this, and I was up at like 1 a.m. because, you don't have a schedule in college. And I saw that and I was like, you know what, let me just do this thing. Like, let me do this application. Let me put some like effort into it. So I scrambled, I did it, within the 24-hour deadline. And because of that, I got accepted into the program.
Really?
I did. And then it ended up rolling into an internship, which ended up rolling into a full-time offer.
So you just turned this whole thing around in 24 hours.
Well, yeah, for the application, not the internship and all that.
Yeah, no, of course. But that's still like incredible. It sounds like you have like an incredible work ethic.
Yeah, I think I do. And I think, one of the things I've learned is like, you've got to seize the opportunity,
right?
Like I'm so grateful for that deadline extension, right? Because literally that changed the course of my life. And being able to be like, you know what, let me actually like take this seriously and do this damn thing and, write a good application. Because without that, sometimes you can let things pass you by that, will end up in a different timeline.
I am a firm believer in fate.
Oh, yeah.
Things happen to me where just think like if that one thing didn't happen, I wouldn't be in the place that I am right now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, I don't know if you believe in fate, but similarly, this one day extension just really changed the course of your life.
I think that, I don't know if I would call it fate per se, but I think the universe generally wants to work in your favor.
Right.
And so because the universe is a woman, will present you these things. And it's like, it's up to you to be in the right headspace to be able to recognize what the universe is giving you.
Right.
Be able to act accordingly on it, right? So it could have been very easily where I just blown it off again. But I was like, you know what? I want to read this as being for me, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, yeah. When the universe hands you an opportunity, you need to seize it. And it sounds like you have had a lot of amazing opportunities and you are an incredibly successful person.
Thank you.
It's true. I'm curious to know, because I know that you have had so much success. You switched to becoming a software engineer. You worked at Google, you worked at Meta, you worked at Priceline, you're at Spotify. Is there a moment that you're incredibly proud of or something that catapulted you to your career?
Yeah, the moment that really catapulted my career is when I left one job for another that paid less. It was actually a huge difference, but I was going to learn so much more. So it was one of those take one step backward, but take two steps forward. Like I knew that taking this new job, my skills as an engineer were going to grow rapidly because I was basically not getting the learning and development at my current role at the time. And so this other opportunity was in software consulting, was just they were really going to teach you to how to be like code well, how to think like an engineer and be effective because they need to deploy you right to different firms. So I was like, I have to do this even though I live in New York and taking a pay cut sucks, but I knew that making a trade-off now was going to serve me for the rest of my life.
Right.
And it absolutely has. Like that is hands down in terms of learning and growth, the most impactful job I've had in my entire career.
Wow.
And it's not at a big firm. It's not like one that is well known.
And even today, it's like the most impactful job that has like catapulted your skill set.
Exactly. Because I went from like 30% knowing what to do to like 120%. Like it really just taught me and grew my confidence as a developer, right? Because I had to go to different workplaces, different cultures, different tech stacks, and like know what I'm talking about and know what I'm doing.
There are the majority of software engineers are men.
Yeah.
And you, as a woman a female in tech, are a minority, and a woman in color in tech is like even more of a minority.
Yes.
And so, what advice do you give someone who may be like a young Black girl or a young Latina girl or a female in general or someone who like it's almost like defying all odds and obstacles to become an engineer. What advice do you give them?
Oh, yeah. The advice I'd give to any young woman of color in tech is your mentors can be anybody. And the story I have for that is in my first engineering internship, my mentor was a white guy from Long Island. And this guy would go to bat for me. He advocated for me to be hired. He supported me throughout that internship. And he's not somebody, as a woman coming in, I would not see him and immediately like think, oh, this is the guy I'm going to connect with. Like he was an older white, you know what I mean? Like, but he played such a big role in my career and like supporting me through that. So I would just say, be open to like mentorship from anyone, even if the like most unlikeliest of people, even if people you think that would not care about you,
right?
That they can, and they can play really impactful roles in your career.
And do you mentor people now?
I have, yeah. I've been a mentor Spotify, outside of Spotify. I love like, I'll get hit up on LinkedIn by random like college kids just saying, hey, would love some advice. And I try to make time and, set up phone calls with them.
I'm the same way. I don't give everyone the time only because
it's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. But if anyone, and I'm saying this, and I know like you guys are watching it, if you hit me up on LinkedIn and it says that you went to University of Florida or you were a United States Marine, I'm making the time.
Or you follow this YouTube channel. Now you've got to answer that too.
Hit subscribe while I'm here.
While we're at it.
Let's talk about money.
Let's talk about money.
Money.
We are in
Money
a capitalist society. We need money.
Money makes the world go round. I'm a finance channel.
Oh, yeah.
But I do love to talk about people's careers and kind of the things that allow them to achieve the levels of success that they've achieved. But I am curious to know about people's personal finance and their strategy. So tell us about what your financial goals are, like what you're doing.
Okay.
Do you invest? Do you save? Do you have student debt? I know that's a loaded question, but
there's a lot there.
Yeah.
So my financial goals is, I would say, I just kind of want a diversified portfolio.
Okay.
That's going to grow with me and support me in my not too old of age, ideally. So yes, I do invest. I invest obviously in the typical 401k, Roth as well, but I also do like a standard brokerage. I don't like to pick stocks. I'm not a stock picker.
Okay.
I did briefly do that in 2020, like everybody did, and opened a Robinhood account.
Okay.
And I just realized like a year of doing that, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I picking that? So I just do index funds. I do total, U.S. market, stuff like that. Like
Right.
I keep it very simple, the strategy in terms of investing. And I try to put in, honestly, as much as I can. Like, max out the 401k, max out the Roth, and then put, what I can without sacrificing lifestyle into brokerage. And in part of that, I also do invest in real estate. I do also own an investment property out of state, want to add to that portfolio, continue growing that. And then, do some side hustles and maybe start opening up the new pathway, right, is having your own business.
Right.
And something like that, that's making money while you sleep. So that's probably the next lever that I'm pulling.
Wow, that's a lot. So I'm gonna break that down, because what I heard is that you have a diversified set of accounts that you invest in. You have your brokerage account, you have your 401k, you have your Roth IRA. And what you do there is you do broad market index funds.
Yep.
And then you have real estate, and then you have some entrepreneurial pursuits later on down the line. Let's talk about just the first part, which is just the investing aspect of it. Do you have, firstly, I always tell people before you start investing, just make sure you don't have a lot of debt.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any debt, whether student loan, credit card?
I have like $1,000 in a student loan left from my second program going to getting the computer science degree.
Right.
But I pay off all my credit cards. I have that. And then obviously the mortgage of the investment property, but that, the tenants pay for that. So it's good debt.
And so have you always been like this, or like, how did you become so financially savvy?
I actually have always been. There's a funny story when I was like a little girl, when people wanted to like borrow money from me, like my brother, I would charge them interest.
Really?
Like a little bank of Jenise. And I actually at one point typed on the computer, printed it out, and posted in my bedroom dorm like the formal interest rates of like, if it takes a week, add $1. If it takes 2 weeks, add $2.
Did you really?
I actually did, yeah. Which makes you wonder, like, why did I not get into finance? But
you can be a finance bro like me.
But yeah, I've always been very conscious of money. Laughter aside, I think it's because, my family did struggle a bit growing up, and my dad and my mom had to work many jobs to try to support us. And I think I was always aware of that as a child, and I kind of saw like, okay, money is a bit precious. So, you need to be careful with it. You need to be wise with it. I think that was like instilled in me very young.
And so would you say that because of the way that you were brought up and the way that your family had their relationship with money, that you have a healthy relationship with money?
Yeah, I would say so now. I live below my means. I think that's a fundamental thing is like I do not exceed that. I live a good life. Like I don't believe in sacrificing happiness, but I do live below my means. I do invest as much as reasonably possible. Yeah.
And when you say invest as much as possible, what percentage of your income do you save?
Oh gosh, do you really want me to put the percent down? Oh my gosh, putting me on camera. I would say like 25%.
Okay,
Comfortably.
that's solid.
5%, yeah.
Solid.
I
yeah.
don't know what your previous guests say, but in New York, this is what I do.
Yeah. New York is expensive.
Yeah.
New York is expensive. But do you have like, everyone's doing like the FIRE movement. Like I want a financial independent, retire early. I'm going to save as much money as possible so I can like quit my 9-to-5 grind. Is that something that you see for yourself, or do you just like working and you're like, I want to be comfortable in retirement, so I'm saving money now?
No, so FIRE is not for me. And here's why. FIRE is about saving as much as possible, like really changing your lifestyle, living as like small of a footprint as possible and saving everything, right? I believe in my capacity to earn. I believe in my capacity to make. And I eventually believe in my capacity to run a business. So I want to be at the point where I am making enough money that it enables me to retire. I don't want to save my way to retirement. I want to make enough money to retire.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way I can put it. And I do have the confidence to know that I can do it. So although I do save and have that safety net, of course, right? But I'm also, my plan to get to early retirement is through more passive income.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Like your 401k is your plan B.
Exactly. That's 401k is the plan B, y'all. Like, that's the best way to put it because, I'm a young woman. I live in New York City. Like I want to go out. I want to do stuff. I don't feel like I should not be doing any of these things, right, in order to live a FIRE lifestyle so I can retire eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at 40 because I got used to that because I did that for the past 20 years,
right?
But so it's a balance. I think to do it the passive income way or side hustle or business way, it takes more risk,
right? And
it takes more work, but I think it's very doable.
So as you mentioned, like you want to have enough passive income to retire. You're not pursuing FIRE. We're not eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so we don't have to work. But you have real estate, which generates passive income.
Yep.
Tell me about your real estate.
So right now it's just a single family home property. It's out in Tennessee.
Okay.
Supporting the southern migration going on right now. But I bought it turnkey style. So I don't know. Are you familiar with that term?
Can you explain it to me?
So turnkey properties they're properties that, they've been rehabbed already, oftentimes already placed with tenants, and you kind of just go in and buy it. And so you don't have to do any work. You don't have to, find tenants, deal with vacancy. It's already like done for you. And while that might eat into your margins, it does. I did it that way primarily because it got me in the door.
Right.
Like a lot of times in real estate, it's like you can get caught up like what they call analysis paralysis.
Right.
You're like studying the numbers or whatever, but then that gap between when you actually buy is so long. And I was actually struggling with that too at some point. And then I just decided I need to get an investment property. I need to just be in the game. As long as I'm not losing money, it's gonna pay off, right? As long as I'm not losing money and I hold it long enough, it'll be fine.
Right.
And so the turnkey actually really just enabled me to do that quickly. And it's been a really great decision. I, knock on any wood, haven't had any issues with the property. Tenants have been great. So like, I encourage people, everyone should find the path that works for them. But I would say if something allows you to get in the door, even if you're going to necessarily make a little bit less money doing it, I think it's worth it.
Of course.
To get into the game.
But even if anything, you're just learning.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of value in the lessons that you get from actually doing it that you can't really get in a book.
Exactly.
Right. How did you find this property?
So,
you live in New York. This property is in Tennessee.
So what I did is I found a turnkey provider. So I did research. I found a bunch online. I tried to vet them through reviews. I looked on BiggerPockets and would see like when people, had experiences with these turnkey companies. I try to filtered down to like, okay, what are the names that are coming up so that I know that they've got a lot of people, and are the reviews good? Are they favorable? And, with real estate, it can be a little hit or miss. Like, you can have a great house or whatever, and then you can have a tenant that doesn't pay.
Right.
Or you can just suffer a little bit from vacancy. So you'd always find, I would say that there was no turnkey provider that had like perfect reviews.
Right.
But I found really good ones, like mostly good, with the one that I ended up going with.
Okay.
And so that's how I did it.
And what year did you buy this property?
I bought this property in 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
And where were interest rates back then? Did you get a good rate, or are you in the Biden inflation?
Well, I was at 4.2. So where is that?
4.2. That's
It's better than now.
it's better than now.
Yeah. But it wasn't the super cheap, like 3.5 era, which, now.
Oh, yeah. I have friends who have 2.75% mortgages, and I'm like, we fucking hate you.
Yeah, it'll be a long time if we ever get to that again.
Yeah, exactly. And you also mentioned that you want to pursue entrepreneurial ventures.
Yes.
Anything that you care to share?
Yeah, for my entrepreneurial ventures, right now I'm actually looking to start an e-commerce.
E-commerce.
Yes, I'm still like doing some product validation, but originally I was going the, kind of like digital offerings, courses, ebook kind of route. But honestly, that didn't keep me motivated. Like, I would sit down, I'd have a plan, and then within a week I was over it. And so I've learned for myself, it's very important for me to pick something that I'm just engaged in. And so when I started getting into e-commerce, I found that like that keeps my attention. Like, there's so much to learn, so much to do, so many places, like so many domains that you can take it in, right? That it's just very interesting to me. So that is what I'm exploring.
And when you say e-commerce, does that mean like selling a physical product
Yeah.
through a website? Like,
Yeah, like DTC style, yeah.
Sorry, could you explain DTC?
Yeah, so DTC is a direct-to-consumer company, meaning you sell a product directly to the consumer. It wouldn't be available in stores.
Okay.
They would go on the website and buy. Ideally, it'd be your branded website, not like Amazon or something like
Right.
that.
So you're gonna like sell ShamWows or something?
I'll sell ShamWows. I don't even know what that is, but I'll sell it.
Oh, it's like a little sponge thing that like soaks up
sponges.
water.
But things like that, not sponges, but things like that. Yeah,
Right.
but branded and cool and on offer. Like, I think it's cool to be able to offer something to like niche communities that
Right.
like big corporations can't really serve.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have a product in mind, I'm assuming.
I'm not ready to announce it yet.
Oh,
But can
you're
you
not?
bring me back when I'm ready to announce?
Oh, can we get a commitment on that?
Yeah,
when are you going to be ready?
Listen, I can't give you a date.
We're not we're not gonna under promise over here.
No. I would love to come back and announce the product when I'm ready to launch.
Okay.
But let me still make sure, because here's the thing with entrepreneurship. I'm not loyal to this idea. And so what I mean by that is I have an idea for a product. I have an idea for a community I want to sell. I'm testing that this will A, sell, B, sell at enough margins that like, I want to do this, right? Because if you could sell something, but it's only $2, I mean, we're not trying to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if it can't do that, then I'm going to validate and find other ideas and validate those.
Right.
So I think sometimes with people who are interested in entrepreneurship, they get a little too loyal to the idea. And the reality is you have an idea, test it. If it doesn't work or if it doesn't make enough money, move on to the next.
Right.
So that's why I don't want to announce, just because, I don't know, it may be different by the time I come back.
But, hearing you say that makes me think that you are incredible. You have like an incredible appetite for risk. I mean, just the things that you said. Since we began this interview, I went back to school, completely changed my career. I invest in all of these different types of investment vehicles. I do real estate, turnkey properties, out of state.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'm going to create these startups, right? And so I'm curious to know, like, where does your risk profile and appetite come from?
That's such a great question, like my risk profile, right? Because to be honest, in my mind, I don't see myself as risky. I see myself as like, maybe not conservative, but just like, I would never describe myself as the gambler type, you know,
Okay.
like I'm not going to blackjack table and, you know, putting all my chips on the table. I would say my risk profile is, listen, take smart risk. And honestly, what makes them smart is because a lot of them are tried and true. Like real estate investing has been done for so long. Like I don't have to make up the numbers or the calculators. Like they all exist.
Right.
Get access to the sheets, put the numbers in, and they come out right, put it in again. If they come out right, they're like, okay, there's something here, right? And try to talk to people who have done things before. So I see them as very smart risk because obviously when you buy a property or when you invest in a stock, you know, there's always it's not a guarantee, but I think, again, the universe is working for you. And if you try to be like prepared and smart, it's generally going to work out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you like what I'm hearing is that you do a lot of due diligence, right? You're not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, I think I am a due diligence person. I don't reinvent the wheel. I don't come up with something brand new. I don't think that I'm so smart that I have to do things a way that no one has ever done it before. In fact, I love copying people. Oh, you've got a tried and true like investing strategy. Let me just do that.
Right.
If it's working for you and it's worked for them, it's going to work for me.
Right.
You know? And so that is my philosophy. If it's worked before, it can work for me.
Right. Yeah. And you just copy and paste and do it over and over and over again.
Exactly. I'm sorry it's not like the sexiest answer, but you know?
No, but you know what I think about is you, despite the fact that you're not reinventing the wheel, you still have to build it.
Yeah.
You know, and that takes a lot of diligence and a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication.
Yep, exactly. You know, fun fact with the real estate property, I've never seen it. I've never been to Tennessee. I look at it on Google Maps, Street View. That's like the best that I've seen it.
Wait.
Yeah,
Pause. You own a house in Tennessee?
I own a house in Tennessee.
And you have never been to Tennessee?
And I've never been to Tennessee and have no plans to go to Tennessee.
And you've never been to this house at all?
No, I've not. I've never visited this house.
And you describe yourself as not risky.
You know, maybe that's me being too trusting of the process. But no, I mean, listen, it's worked out. You know, I don't want to go to Tennessee if I don't have to.
Tennessee's fun.
Yeah, I do hear good things about that.
Tennessee's super fun.
Yeah.
Jenise, I really appreciate the time that you took. I do have one question for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, if you were to give a book recommendation to people watching this video, what book would you recommend?
Yeah, the book that I would recommend, it's not finance related, but it is emotional and relationships related, is the book Attached.
Attached.
Yes, I love this book. I read this book after a breakup, and it kind of really changed my worldview of relationships and intimacy. And I just feel like I grew as a woman reading that book and understanding like how to be a good partner, how to receive love from a partner. Like it's just been tremendous in understanding like interpersonal relationships and the dynamics that exist within them. And I think we all could use like more knowledge in that area.
Yeah, I do think that many times when we're dating, we kind of fly by the seat of our pants.
We're just winging it. And you know what? Something as important as like who you spend the most of your time with or the majority of your time with, you know, you shouldn't be winging it. Like it's good to understand how people come to be, why they are, why you are the way you are, and like have that level of self-awareness.
Right. Wow, fantastic. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, ladies and gentlemen, Jenise.
Thank you. Subscribe now.